Hi everyone, and welcome to week 2 of EN1150. Today I'm going to do a brief tutorial on part 2 of your week 2 assignment. That is going to be where you're going to cite your sources. And remember that those sources are things where you get your information. Remember back to last week in week 1 when you looked at websites and you found websites that you thought were correct websites and that they were reliable? Well, this week you're actually going to have to find websites on your topic of choice. In other words, why I chose my healthcare profession. That's the paper that you're going to be writing in week 4. And in weeks 1 and 2 and 3, you're building up to that. This week, you're going to be going to a website or 2 websites and finding some credible websites about that specific healthcare profession. So for example, say that you were doing pharmacy technician. Let's do some research and look up some articles on that, and we'll work through this worksheet together. I found 2 websites that I thought seemed pretty good for pharmacy technician. I went to the Chicago Tribune, and I also went to US News and Money. For the first part of the worksheet, it's asking you to type in or to copy and paste the URLs or the web addresses. So let's do just that. We're going to highlight it and copy it. And when we copy it, we're going to paste it in. As you can see, I've already done that. This is Money, US News, and that's the URL. You're going to go to the other website, highlight it, copy it, and do the same thing. And as you can see, now we have our 2 articles. The next step says select a quote from one of the websites. I chose to go to the Chicago Tribune website and to select a quote. Now you don't want to quote statistics. For instance, this would not be a good thing for you to copy and quote. There's no way of really putting statistics into your own words. And so you want to copy things that you can paraphrase or put into your own words. I chose this phrase, growth projections for the field are based on facts that are so many new drugs on the market and the population is becoming increasingly gray. Let's go back to our page and take a look at that. Notice that it says so many new drugs are on the market and the population is becoming increasingly gray. Now there is our quote. Make sure that when you paste that into this document that you put quotation marks around it. It is a quote and therefore needs quotation marks. And you will lose points if you don't put that in there. Okay, so now we have our quotation down there. So what does it say exactly? Well, basically what I would think it would say is that the growing projections for the field means that jobs are going to be growing in the near future due to the aging population, the fact that the population is increasingly gray due to the aging population and the development of new drugs. There, we took our quote, we put it into a paraphrase, we worded it in our own words, and yet we still need to give credit to where we got that information from. So there you're going to do your in-text citation. That's what it means. It literally means it's inside the text. Okay? So there we give credit to it. Chicago Tribune, 1986. Where did we get that information? Let's take a look. When you go back, you'll notice that here is the author of the article, and here is the year that it was published. So we want to go ahead and put that information in our text. Creating an in-text citation for the quoted. All I've done is take this information and I've moved it down here. Okay, so there is your in-text information. Creating a reference citation APA style. Now this is for your reference page. This is not an in-text. When you are quoting something and you're giving it in-text citation, all you're doing is you're telling your reader where on your reference page to find that information. This gives you a little hint as to who did it. This is going to give you all of the information. So we go back and we take a look at what we've got, okay? And since I quoted from this particular article, this is the one that I'm going to give credit to on my reference page. this is the way the reference is going to read. Chicago Tribune, 1986. Very similar to what you put in your in-text, but remember, this is the whole thing now. This is going to be your reference citation. This is what explains to the reader what this is, okay? So you're going to put this information, then you're going to put the title of the article, and there is the title of the article, okay? You're going to put the title of the article with a period, and then you're going to say where you got it from. Once again, we're going to say retrieved from, and you're going to put that URL that we put up here, okay? You're going to put that in that spot. And that's it. And then you're done. That's it for the worksheet for work 2. I hope you have found this tutorial helpful, and I want to thank you for joining in.